Good morning. This week, we kick off the third week of our 2013 stewardship campaign. 2 weeks ago, we introduced the concept of Ask God, the theme and how we approach stewardship each year. And we talked about the fact that we approach it a little bit differently here than perhaps many of us have at churches that we've been part of earlier in our life. And it's very, very important, we believe, that we not approach the concept of giving to the church as if we are paying membership dues, or if there is ever an expectation that anyone must give financially to this church. Rather, we want to always make it very clear that all are welcome here, no matter what. And we talked about the fact that the way we approach stewardship then is to spend quiet time with God over this 5 weeks each year, reflecting on what this church does for others, and asking God to what extent can we and should we support the church, knowing that if we make that decision together with God, we can do it without fear. And we said that this year we were going to hopefully talk to you frankly about how we as a stewardship team think about stewardship and the questions that we ask ourselves. And so last week we talked about why to give to the church. And we said that, when we give to typical not-for-profit charities in our life, organizations like the American Red Cross in the wake of Hurricane Sandy, not once do we ever stop and ask, I'm giving in response to what I'm getting. Instead, we give because we want to help others. And we asked that this year, if we haven't done that before, that we all spend some time asking God about what this church does for others, and to the extent to which we believe that God is behind what we're doing and asking us to continue to support it. And so this week we're going to talk about why we pledge versus just putting money in the basket once a week. And then we said that next week we'd try to tackle the very fun topic of how much we should give. So why do we pledge? Why don't we just pass the plate or drop money in the basket in the back every week and kind of wing it? Well, there's 3 reasons that we've come up with, 2 that are for us and 1 that is for the church. And the first one that's for us is we pledge because it enables us to make a commitment where we spend serious time with God and reflect upon this church and the degree to which we'd like to support it. And then we put a real number down and we commit to it, versus simply going through the year and whatever we happen to have loose change in our pocket that week, dropping it in the plate. But why does making a commitment matter? Is that about our relationship with God? Well, I can only speak for myself, and I can tell you that for myself, when I do spend that time and I come up with a number that makes me feel excited, with a commitment to this church that is not one where I feel an obligation, but where I feel like, boy, if I could do that, that would make me feel really good. And then I hit it through the year, it makes me feel really good. And so that opportunity to commit to the church and to work towards that commitment and then hit that commitment, for me, is a wonderful feeling each year. The other reason, frankly, that we pledge is that it's kind of like a 12-month no-interest financing kind of opportunity. Think about it. If you asked me right now to write a check for $5,000 to this church, I could do it, but I'd have to take a deep breath before I sign my name on that check. But if you asked me right now to sign up for $100 a month next year, that's something that I can get my mind around. And the number doesn't matter. We'll talk about numbers next week. But specifically, this wonder, this Giving Made Simple thing that we have that allows us to sign up to have whatever we pledge simply be taken out of our bank account or from our credit card once a month or whatever the cycle is next year, makes it extraordinarily easy for me to kind of pay on that payment plan. And then the last reason that we pledge, quite frankly, is that it's really, really important to the church. You see, these guys and a bunch of volunteers each year about this time of year are culminating a 2-month process where we've been putting together our budget for next year. All the things that we want to be able to do next year and what they're going to cost, and electricity and water and all of that kind of fun stuff. And in order for us to put together a balanced budget that then we put in front of you, because this is a church with congregational roots, and so we do the annual meeting every year at the beginning of the year where we put the numbers in front of you and we ask you to vote to approve it. You're not going to vote to approve it if it's not a balanced budget. And so it's very helpful for us when we all pledge to know exactly what we can expect for next year and budget accordingly. And then, of course, the final request is, as we go through the year, if our intentions were extraordinary and reality was a little bit different, it's very helpful for us if we let the church office know if things have changed, and we may struggle to make that pledge so that we can adjust accordingly as we move forward. So that's why we pledge, and next week we'll talk about how much. Thanks.